Sounds good. All right. We're back today, The Baseline, Season 3, Episode 10, with our guy from Herzliya, Daeshon Francis.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming in, man.
Welcome. Thanks, you guys, for having me.
Appreciate it.
Show.
Of course, we're ready to go. We're excited. As I was just saying before, it's every kind of player has come onto this show so far, which is great for us because we've had the full range. But you have guys who did every kind of journey: D1, D2, D3, JUCO, European players, and that's what we want to show on this podcast. That's what we want to show is how different everybody can be, and it doesn't matter your background or where you're from or what you've done, and that this league here is ready and it's open, and you could be here, you could be a great player, you could stay for a long time. So we're excited to have you on. Thank you, and everything's just insight into more players, which is what we want to do.
Big time. Thank you guys for having me again, man. Let's get to it.
So first of all, I like to start with a lot of times when I have to speak to guests, and I want to really know them when this kind of love of basketball happened. A lot of players, sometimes it's right away for them. They know when they're 6'11" in 7th grade, they know they're going to be playing basketball their whole life. But for you, when did it start in your family? Is basketball big in your family? At what point did you know it was something that you wanted to pursue seriously?
So for basketball, I'm the first and only actual basketball player. So for me, it was 3. I would say age 3 when it started, and then by 4, 5, 6, I was already into the AAU travel basketball circuit. So
that is 5 years old.
So it started my trainer LaSalle Thompson. It started off as a trainer, and then we started the AAU team. Bunch of young kids like PJ Thompson, Kendall Rollins, all my guys. And when we started the AAU, that shit just turned to every summer. So we were named Speece Indy Ice. It's a Speece team out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And we started young, man, and we stuck with that from about 1st grade till junior year of high school, which was the last year of AAU. Wow. So crazy.
That's a lot of experience.
It's a lot, right? And we see it, and I'm going every weekend, different state. So I already knew how much more it was to outside of Indy when it came to living. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I think I always just been a travel person, always.
Y'all basically had that same core group the whole way?
Yeah. I think 8th grade it changed, though. That's when we had made the super team. We had combined the 2 Speece teams. So it was me, James Blackman, Taylor Persons, Trayvon Blewett, Trey Lyles, stacked, but all Indy kids. You know what I mean? And that's when we made a change. And then some things, went on. And then for the most part, that was our same group, though.
Wow, yeah,
the whole way.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So that was obviously a big part of your life when you're growing up and you're traveling and all the time. So, when you were in high school, this is kind of a constant thing. At what point did you kind of maybe care more about your AAU success and your high school success? What was prioritized for you, or was it kind of just basketball?
Yeah, it definitely was basketball. But it was just AAU was so fun because we're going to the King James tournament, Adidas tournaments. It was lit. And you're playing against the best guys in the country, not just the school. And with school, you got the freshman basketball, JV, then you play varsity. You know what I mean? And I was a sophomore playing varsity, so that was good for me. But I was ready for the school year to be over. Let's get to AAU. I'm trying to play some guys. So yeah,
right. Y'all are building chemistry from 3, 4 years old. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Wow. But when did the recruiting process for college really kick in? And did the AAU have more precedence over the high school ball?
Yeah. So I went to Lawrence North High School, which is a big high school. That's where Mike Conley, Greg Oden, a lot of Indiana All-Stars came from that school. So for me, I think it was definitely AAU. Because AAU, it's a month, I think, June or July, where the coaches can just come load up on the sidelines. And if you're a top team, your games are always going to be loaded. So then you're going to get the letters in the mail, and now it's on. Now you're like, dang, I just got a letter from Kentucky, dude, whatever the case is. So, yeah, I will say AAU. But then school also is just Indiana's a big basketball school. So it's just our schools are 6A, 7A schools. So it's just everybody's paying attention to it. And then it goes down to what's the grades what's his work, stuff like that. And
yeah. So we've had guys from New York, from Memphis, but now as you mentioned, I think about it, it's Indiana. That's what it is. Basketball is everything.
Who's your nation?
So tell us a little bit about kind of that insight, and was it kind of the whole community and everybody around you was basketball was what kind of the heartbeat of wherever you grew up in Indianapolis and the town. So did you have that feeling, and kind of as you were going through your career, you kind of had the support behind you of Indiana is such a basketball place, and you carry that with you?
It's definitely carry it with you because it makes us dogs, because the politics for us start so young. This guy is ranked. So it's just if you hoop, you got to hoop at a high level if you want to be one of those guys. You know what I mean? So the competition alone was what kept me always on my toes. Being from Indy, it's you got to go against Gary Harris tonight, Yogi Ferrell tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's just constant. Every day is a battle. But yeah, I would definitely say, man, the the Indy, being from Indy is why you know, you go get it. Like, you play basketball, you know you got to be one of those guys, or it's just let that go.
Right. And then so when John asked you about recruitment, you're saying these coaches are always, around you.
For AAU and in school too. It'd be some days like in high school where like in an early morning open gym, coach would be like, we're going to 7:30 before school starts, or 7, coach is going to come watch the open gym. So they're always there. And so that's when your recruitment starts, and then you start getting the calls to coaches, and they let you know this school is interested in you, and you kind of go about it that way. And it depends on, like, are you eligible? Because once they see your grades, that's either you're going to either stop getting calls or keep getting calls. Like, it's one of the two. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. And even for me, like, school was always my, like, enemy. Like, I hate school. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like that shit at all. So I had, before I committed to Green Bay, it had came down to, like, my SAT test, and I had to get a certain score. That was it. That was the only way I was going to be eligible to go to my D1 school. I passed that test, man. I was lit for like 3-4 days, yo. I was panicking like crazy, man. Cause school with me, it just doesn't coexist.
We got the lucky side of that. I didn't have the ACT because of COVID, so I got out of that.
Nah, for real, bro. I hate school.
But when it did come to the recruiting part, did you guys you have your parents, of course, that are helping you with it, but then you have your AAU coach that has been coaching you from 3-4 years old. And then you also have your varsity coach, but he's been with you since
4
what,
years,
15?
4 years. So 4 years.
15
So really
years
like
old.
8th grade.
Right.
Because I was actually in 8th grade at Fall Creek Valley, going from school to the open gyms that were with the high school. You know what I mean? So I was already getting into the mix
So
with them.
my question is, when it comes down to the recruiting process, are they going to your AAU coach? Are they going to your
They go to
high
all
school
of them.
coach?
Anybody they can get in contact with. Maybe
Okay.
not the parents, because that's too direct.
Right.
But they'll go to, your coaches, whether that's AAU coach, school coaches, or even just somebody close that's around in the basketball, environment that they know.
So when it came down to decision day, what was it about Green Bay that caught your eye?
Because my Coach Baroni, he came down to Indy, to my school, and talked to all my teachers, like the teachers that I needed to pass. You know what I mean? That's how in tune they were with. And that moment for me was like huge, man, because just like he came down and helped. Because at that point it was already like I'm on the end of like eligible, not eligible, and him making that, that taking his time out of his day to come down there and help, it just was like easy. And then I took my visit, and I had guys there, one of my good friends, Alfonso McKinney, Kiefer Sykes, they were there, and I went on my visit, and it was just
Right, that's huge.
let's do it. It was a no-brainer.
We always talk about coaches, and like he doesn't really need to do that, right? He can go get another guy, and he ended up really caring about you. That's
Brian
that's
Baroni.
awesome to hear.
Shout out, Coach, man.
From Green Bay, you ended up playing 33 games there. What was it about that D1 ball that you enjoyed or maybe didn't enjoy?
I loved it. I loved it because I had guys around me who really showed me the ropes of not even just college, but the pros too. Because my brother Kiefer Sykes, he had a wonderful career, still is playing, but I was just able to learn so much, at that time being a freshman, and I'm playing. And, that's different. It's like your freshman year is kind of like, maybe I'll play, it gets a little burnt, but I was like the 6th man on that team. So I was playing in every game. And for me, it was just like just getting the experience, learning, the change of pace. Like as a freshman, everything was a learning experience. So I enjoyed it. Man.
Right, that's huge. And you say that you were talking to Kiefer about the overseas ball?
Or just like I was just going watching his whole NBA like process, like with all these NBA coaches. I'm a freshman, but he was a senior, so he's all these NBA scouts and stuff are coming into the gym, sending him all the mail, whether it's overseas teams and everything. And I'm just like learning, just watching everything. And that was like my biggest teacher, like because now I know, okay, this is how the process go. NBA scouts, they gonna contact you. You gotta get agents. He's talking to all these agents. It's just the whole thing. And I was able to just learn that freshman year right away before I even experienced my next 3 years, how it goes.
Was there kind of a warning like through that? Meaning we speak to a lot of players. Oftentimes it's hard to know who to trust. It's hard like who's got your best interest in mind. So were you able to kind of a little bit understand from that process how you needed to, what was your perspective needed to be?
I just knew how serious it is. Like it's a real business. That was the learning of like how much more is business side than just playing basketball. You understand? Like that's and even to this day, that's the biggest thing people don't really pay attention to is how serious the business of it is. Oh, you hurt, you sick, next player in line, next call, next person on a flight to come take your job. Like, and it's just stuff like that where you gotta understand it's not just basketball, way deeper.
Right, and you see that firsthand now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your time that when it ended at Green Bay and your transition to go to JUCO right after that, correct?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that decision and what they were kind of things needed to get used to in that adjustment.
Yeah, so man, that was actually one of the biggest, like one of my biggest downtimes, I would say, of my career, like making that change, going to JUCO. And then, but I always heard JUCO was, you go there for a year, kill, and you can sign to a D1 school. So after we had lost to Valpo at Green Bay in the conference championship, we got a coaching change. And these were like the 4 coaches and the coach that came that I was close to all leaving. So now it's like, my trust. I'm a big trust guy, big on the loyalty. I don't know. And so it ended up coming down like where I was messing around, wasn't really locked in on school because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And then, boom, before you know it, it's like, I got to go JUCO because they brought in a new coach. We talked, didn't see eye to eye. I left. The grades were still bad. Told you I hate school. And and boom, it was like, okay, let's go to JUCO, go to Texas. I had just lost a really close family member at that time. So honestly, like that was like the best thing for me, getting that call. Like, you can come to Texas, fresh start, this and that. You know what I mean? It was just crazy time. But I really appreciated it though, because going to Texas was like a different view.
Yeah, Green Bay to
like,
Texas,
Yeah,
I'd
it's a
say,
big
is
change.
a
going
big
from that
difference.
bro, that cold weather, bro. I hate it. Lambeau Field was nice though. Shout out to the
Yeah,
Packers.
I was gonna say,
Shout out to
what the fuck are you doing in Green Bay? There's nothing going on.
And I'm not even going to a Packers game because I don't like the cold. But it's right there though. I see it.
Yeah, I've been there
I
once, and
see
the
it.
whole city is Lambeau Field, and that's
Facts.
it. So what are you doing every day?
Nothing. We just nothing.
We talked about it coming in, like people will get to the overseas eventually with this talk, but you talk about like playing overseas rather than playing in the US. You're living in some of the nicest, warmest places, just like Israel, so it's a huge takeaway. But what you were talking about, the changes of coaches, it's huge. We see that with a lot of players. Like one coach goes away. We literally, like our episode that's coming up this Wednesday is about with Carlos Marshall. They change coaches, boom, he leaves, goes to Santa Clara. So coaches is a huge deal. So now you go to Texas and you play JUCO. We hear a lot that JUCO ball is that intermediate phase where you're going to play that year and then you're going to move on. So what did you notice from the coaching style and maybe from the team style? Because guys, at the end of the day, they got to go get their own, right?
Yes.
So what do you have to say about that?
That was just the first time I'm like, all these guys could be playing D1, but it's just the grades. It's not the game. It's just, some people just don't take the school or don't have the help or just, whatever their case is. It's not for everybody. But them was some dogs. Like, these is like, I'm trying to come at you every day, 1 through 5. It was crazy. And I was probably like one of my most stacked teams of my career. Like all 14 dudes could be starting somewhere. So that was crazy. So just going to that from the D1, just the treatment and all the help, the counselors, it was just a big difference. JUCO, you kind of more on your own. Like, it's kind of like survival of the fittest. You know what I mean? So that was what I learned, which is like, okay, this is not what you're used to. It's not D1. That was like the thing that had to click immediately. It was like dorms, curfews, all the time. I'm like, bro, I'm coming from D1. I'm not trying to hear that. Like, come on. But no, that was a really big change. And then just coaching too. It's just like those coaches know they're just prepping you to go to a D1 school or D2 school next year. That's like the whole purpose. You're not going there to stay and focus on school. Like, you're literally just going there for a pit stop and then trying to get back to, your dream.
So what about the play style? Like, were you kind of able to maybe work on some things that you weren't able to work on the D1 level because you had this JUCO experience?
I mean, it was kind of the same. It was just like you trying to kill every day, but like my D1, like I said, I played as a freshman at all 33 games, so it was kind of different. Like, I wasn't going there like, oh, now I'm free. Like, I'm a like the Russell Westbrook up and down type of player, like defense first. So I was doing the same thing there, but it's just like I have a purpose and I'm trying to just get here and leave. It was just that.
Right. I don't know if you guys know, but like, I don't know, like with the NIL now, do grades become a factor still?
Good question.
That's interesting.
That's a good question, bro. I have no clue.
Imagine all these guys who like they don't have the grades for it, but they can. Their skill level is much higher through the roof.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because they're not going to pay you. They're going to pay you $1.2 million, but no, your grades aren't good enough, so you can't come.
Right.
It's interesting.
That's crazy. That's because I ain't heard nothing about grades.
Right. It's crazy. But then going from Texas, you ended up signing for
to
D2
a D2
school.
Yeah, University of Texas Permian Basin, UTPB. Crazy time. So again, like this time when I went JUCO, so I went JUCO and then I originally committed to Stephen F. Austin. Right after they had made the tournament with Thomas Walkup, like this is the year after. So I'm like, geek, they made a big name for themselves. Some stuff happens with our coaches and like the school just started treating us a little different at this end of the year. You know what I mean? So again, I'm already not that person whose grades is, I was about to cut it short again, like right down the line. And so at this time, man, like this is when I found out like I couldn't go to Stephen F. Austin. So I ended up having to choose the D2 school. But I knew this coach, Andy Newman, love you, my guy. And I knew him because the school is right up the street from where my JUCO was. You understand? So it was like I seen him all the time, had a relationship. And my brother James McPherson had just committed there as well. But man, when I tell you guys, like this time, I felt like the most disappointed because being from Indy, like you feel like I gotta be D1. I gotta, you know what I mean? It's a certain thing you gotta live up to. And for me, I just felt this weight on me that was crazy. That was just like, I let people down. This is how I truly feel. I never spoke on this, but I just felt like I let so many people down and like going to a D2, like nobody was going to respect it and look different. You know what I mean? So that was just a crazy time for me. And when I went there though, I accomplished more than I could have ever in my life. You know, back-to-back player of the years, All-American, top scorer in school history, graduated. You know what I mean? Like these were the things that I couldn't even asked for or thought about at another school. And it was just a blessing in disguise, you know?
Those are huge achievements.
Crazy.
I mean, people talk about D1, but you got guys D2, you got guys D3 that are coming out here playing, making a couple mil. Like it's crazy. So that's amazing. That's a great accomplishment, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
So what was it about kind of that style that allowed you to kind of break out and
just
do what you did?
If I want to stay locked in on this dream, it doesn't matter D1, D2, or JUCO. Nothing changes. You got to grind even harder now. But I've been the underdog my whole life. So it was really nothing new, but it was just now it's really something to prove. You understand? Like it was a totally different mindset. Like, and like I said, like I was accomplishing so much that those 2 seasons, like player of the week every week, stuff like that. Like, and it was just like, I can't complain, man. Like I'm gonna be okay. You understand? Like I didn't feel down anymore. Like that school had high praise for me. You know what I was doing. I was just having fun, man, and just staying down. That's what I do to this day, stay down.
Right, and it sounds like the coaching staff and the staff there like really helped you with that. But I want to ask, D1, we talk about how they cater everything to you, right?
Yeah.
The facilities are insane. It's amazing. And then you go to JUCO, you got curfew, you got all this shit that you got to deal with.
Facts,
Going to D2, what were like the facilities like? What was the treatment like over there?
Our facility was actually like a college campus, though. Our school, it's actually really nice facilities now. We had a little bit more when it was still the trenches a little bit, but now like UTB is super nice school. But yeah, the facilities was different, man. You know, you got the small training rooms. We had the recovery ice baths and stuff, but it's just D1 is just next level. It's just what it is. So it kind of like it keeps that chip on your shoulder though. And I feel like that's a lot of the difference between a lot of guys who come from D1 or D2 because you're used to getting everything. When you go D2, you got to work a little bit harder to get what you want. You understand? So I always appreciated getting the best of the D1, the JUCO, and the D2. You know what I mean? Like that, I feel like that made me because I got to experience 3 different type of animals.
Right, and that shows like the guys who come. We talked about this with John DiBartolomeo, that he feels kind of like that he got a good benefit playing D3 because now when he first started playing overseas, seeing 300 fans in the crowd, it didn't really mean much to him. If you're coming from a D1 school, you had thousands of people in the crowd moving down. It could affect your mental.
For sure.
So it's huge. But also in D2, after you had those 2 amazing years, what was the professional career recruitment process like coming from D2? Did you have a lot of overseas guys there? What was it like signing your first agent?
Right. So funny story. So my agent right now is Marco. He's from Italy. Love my guy. But he was actually recruiting me like I think he started junior year or might have been starting senior year. And we were in contact, you know what I mean, talking about the overseas and everything. But it's just like, I was like, Marco, I don't know. Like, I couldn't understand him really. Like, this is my first go around with the, foreign life. And so it came down to him and another agent. But my other agent, you know, it was all about the NBA workouts and staying into the States. And so at that time, I wasn't mature enough yet, and I took the American agent because I'm thinking G League, this and that. I want to do all the NBA workouts. Went to like 6 NBA workouts, this and that. And then, you know, I think I had went with the Timberwolves G League team for like just a little bit, got signed, and then had got let go. And then I went to Luxembourg, Germany. So then I went with my, you know, my first overseas experience. But later down the line to now, I changed my agent to Marco, who was my first person who reached out to me as an agent. And, you know, since then, he's amazing, man. I've been all over, so it's crazy.
You played those 3 games with the Vipers, right? That's the Wolves.
Or the Vipers was that's the Rio Grande. That's in Texas.
That's the
Rockets G League team.
Oh, so you played with the Rockets? G
Yeah,
League
the second year. So
that
that was the second year they drafted me.
Okay.
The second year.
So post Luxembourg.
Post Luxembourg.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
tell us about
Oh,
kind of
interesting.
that contract you signed with Luxembourg, maybe getting on the plane to go over there, and then you land and you realize, like, fuck, like, where am I? What am I doing? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that adjustment.
Yeah, that adjustment was crazy because it's like 13-hour flight. All right. If I get on that plane, I'm in it now. I can't turn back. Can't bust a U-turn. But yeah, that was crazy, man. As soon as I get to Luxembourg, my bags are lost in the airport. The big bag with all the stuff. I got the PlayStation, this bag, but the big stuff gone. I'm already like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
First overseas experience.
No hoop shoes, like, I'm tweaking. But boom, and then, you know, time started going, and then they were really good people in Luxembourg. You understand? That location is right in the center of everything. I was able to go to Paris, go to Amsterdam, Madrid. And I'm young, though. It's my first year overseas, so I was seeing everything my first year to where immediately I knew, like, this is what I want. Like, I want to play overseas. I have no problem playing overseas.
So my question is, you feel that like in your first year, and you do still go back to the G League for a few games. So
yeah.
what sparked that decision?
Yeah, so I ended up getting signed by the Vipers G League team, and you know, obviously it's the G League. Right. I feel like, you know, coming from a D2, that was a special moment. You know what I mean? Getting drafted into there and, you know, signing with the team, going down there, going through, you know, a little preseason. And I think I had played like 1 game. And that was like around Christmas time, I think, when I got let go. And then that COVID happened a little bit later.
Right, 2020.
So yeah, that was fun, man, just to get that experience as well. The training, you know what I mean, just seeing the preparation that goes into playing at a high level with the G League and how the treatment, you know, coming from Luxembourg now, I'm like, oh, right. Shit, I don't want to go back. But it was good, man.
Not losing any bags there.
Not losing no bags there. Not losing no bags there. But it also was a really hard time as well, because now you see the business side of the NBA and NBA G League. You got your 2-way contract players who, if they get sent down to a G League game, that's 40 shots, and then you're on a plane the next day. So when you watching film, who you watch? Like, you watching somebody that's not even here. And then, you know, if you're not those top prospect guys, you kind of have to start at the bottom. It's not, and it doesn't matter about how you're going into practice. Like, if you're killing them in practice and locking up everybody, that don't really make a difference because their name is already written in the books. You understand? So it was kind of like, all right, I would say that year was when I was kind of the least happy basketball wise, being in that right. stint of the G League, just realizing like, no, I see why people fall out of it. Being in the G League for 3, 4, 5 years, it's not lit. You know what I mean? Your main goal is to get that contract to get on the NBA team. And if that's not a possibility, what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's not a place to just kick it. So I learned that right away. Like, I don't waste time, bro. I pay attention to everything.
Well, it wasn't the whole year. You had a little stint there. But you go to Finland, play 18 games there, and you average about 18 points, 6 rebounds. You had a great time there. So what was the next step like overseas?
The next step was just like, now it's time to fully max out the overseas. So now let's take each step and make sure it's a step higher each year. You know what I mean? Don't waste much time. Get in, handle your business, and, you know, God will handle the rest. That's kind of how I was looking at it. So yeah, Finland was fun too. Ice cold, back in the cold. Come on, man, I can't
escape it.
Back in the cold, that was brutal. I ain't gonna lie. It's getting dark there, man, at like 12 o'clock.
That's
like,
crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I was losing myself out there, man. like really had to take sunny D packets, like trying to maintain out there.
You were hooping over there. You actually had 2 cold years. You did Finland and then you did Ukraine for a year.
Man, Ukraine's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Very
That's the
good
first
people.
time we've had someone who played in the league there, so I'd love to hear about that.
Ukraine was really fire. They were really good people, man. The food was good. Like, they treated me good. Our facility was real nice. I had a good team. The Ukraine League was lit that year. That's when I had first played DJ Cooper out there, Archie Goodwin. Had a lot of good players out there that year. But yeah, it was. I didn't think Ukraine was gonna be fun though. Like, hearing about it, I was like,
you weren't excited to go back to the cold.
Yeah, I wasn't excited about that. Then you know, with the war and all that stuff, that's when they were kind of like, Americans shouldn't be out there, but it was.
This was already starting then?
No, so I was there. It started like right at the end of, like almost the end of the season when Russia had finally invaded, and I had actually got out like 5 days before.
Whoa.
Because I stayed in Zaporozhye, and there were an airport there, and the other airport is only in the capital, which is Kiev.
Right.
So I was able to just hop on a plane and go to Istanbul, Turkey for like 4 days. Goodbye. I'll see y'all later. I'm not wasting time. And then as soon as I make it back to the States and to Texas, I woke up, and on the news, Russia had just came over.
That is crazy.
And I was like, okay.
Thank God.
Thank God. For sure.
Wow. So your next move, like, this is something at this point. So now I'm curious. Now you're back in Texas, is what you said, and you probably have a lot of people asking you about your experience. And do you find yourself in that situation becoming kind of like an advocate for, like, hey man, like, really, you should be considering overseas as a path? And tell us about overall, like, what you've told to other people.
Yeah, all my brothers and people I'm close to know how much I be trying to get them to get your passport. Go pay that $130, $145, whatever it is, fill out the paperwork, and come travel overseas. And I'm not talking about no quick 3-day trip. Like, you need to come actually stay for a week, 2 weeks, and get the full experience. I've been saying it for years, because at this point, I'm 17 countries in, and I feel like that's a flex when it comes to a lot of people, because it's like, I don't waste
17 that you played in?
That I've been to, like, just traveling.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I played in 5, or this would be 6, I think, but visited 17, like, I love it. Life over here is just amazing, man. It's just so much to see, so much to learn, so many people to meet. Like, I'm just big on the relationships too. Like, I got every place I've been, I can call people right now and it's love. Like, that's just how I am.
You're learning different cultures,
cultures, learning languages, way of life. I'm so big off the court. Like, on the court, that's work. I've been doing that since I was a kid. But can you survive off the court and not just be that guy who's sitting in the crib playing video games all day? There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm outside. I like to go get some experiences, and
we spoke about it before we came in here. Like, there's guys who, with all respect, like, they want to go get that NBA dream and they stay in the G League for a few years, but you can talk about it firsthand. Like, going overseas it's great. First of all, you're playing basketball and making money doing it, and then you're also traveling all throughout the world, seeing beautiful places. You're not in, I don't know, some cold ass place like Green Bay or something.
Just chilling.
Facts. So where were you able to find that so far in your career, like, culture wise? It's like something comfortable, and you also discovered stuff you didn't think you would discover about a place.
Sicily.
Yeah,
Italy.
really?
I love those people, man.
In Italy.
Como stai? Miss you guys, all that. How y'all doing? Look, I love Italy, man. Those people are the most amazing people I've ever been around.
Prego.
They hit you with that, right? They actually hit you with the chow, double kiss, mwah, mwah. What we doing? You know what I mean? Like, Italy, man, that was just a real special time too, because that was just like, you guys are just people I could be around forever. You know what I mean? Like, they take care of you without wanting anything from you. You understand? Like, that was a very special time too. I loved Italy. Ain't gonna lie.
Italy's great. And then you played there for 23 games. You spent the whole season there. Went to Estonia, Latvia. How was that?
Back in the cold.
See what's going on here, man.
Going back and forth.
Back to the cold. Oh, man. Latvia. Oh, that was I love you guys too. But that was my least favorite time off the court. It was nothing to do. I was in the Ventspils. That's not even Riga. It's not the capital. I was going through it, man. Like, it was tough. It was tough. Like, no way to escape just the gym. It was just straight basketball.
You there with you played with Ishmael El-Amin there.
Ski. Yeah.
So he came to Israel.
We both did.
Right.
So we were teammates
last year. Were you guys
last year.
speaking about this at the same time?
No, we didn't speak, but we both had the same goal last year. Like, that's my brother. Like, we were like, this is a piss stop. You know what I mean? Like, that's my guy. But yeah, we handled business there in Latvia, and it was special to see that we both came here to Israel at the same time.
I was gonna ask, while you're like exploring all these different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Is Israel like on the map? Are people talking about it? Like, are you guys kind of have that goal?
Israel, it for me, it became a goal a little bit later because I mean I seen they were giving out bags out here, and I heard more than anything like the lifestyle off the court is the most like home that you're gonna feel everywhere. That's all I hear about Israel is that when Americans come here, they do not leave because of the lifestyle, and I'm a witness to that now. And yeah, Israel.
Can't speak more about it.
Can't speak more about it. Israel's love, man. Love this place.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about the kind of different coaching you experience in different places, because we're always super curious to hear that. Obviously, for you who had this kind of path within the States and then also in Europe. So what place stood out as kind of you arrive and what they're talking is like you can't even believe this is like a method of coaching? Are there certain places that you had great coaches that stood out to you and some places where you felt like you could have been the head coach?
Yeah, facts. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I've actually always had the blessing to have good coaches. I think Ukraine and here are the first teams that I had a first year coach. Like this is their first year, so they're learning. You know, I mean, you can't hold them to the same standard as the veteran coaches or coaches who are years in. And you know, like Latvia and Italy, those coaches had like real methods, like guaranteed plays we're going to score on, putting their have a system that's like it's tough to beat. You know what I mean? So those were high level coaches. And then even in high school, I had my coach Jack Kiefer. If you look him up, legend, and he taught us a lot, like before even going to college. So I had like that knowledge of like good coaches, and then Green Bay, good coach. Texas, Andy Newman's a great coach. Yeah, I've always had good coaches, man. Just kind of depends on how experienced are they.
So talking about coaching, coming here in Herzliya, it was a little bit interesting. You could talk about it a little bit, like what the process was like. You came on a 3-month contract, and players are in and out all season long. Yeah. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah. So, you know, the original thing was I was signing with Herzliya for a 3-month contract when my brother X-Hat got hurt. And it's supposed to just be a 3-month contract, you know, come in, hopefully can go to a higher team level, whatever. But in my mind, I'm going to be honest, I'm coming here to stay. I'm not coming for a 3-month contract. So, you know, that was my goal coming in. And this was the most different situation for me because I've played everywhere, 30-minute player, like everywhere I've been pretty much. So this was a different situation, just not having that consistency. You know what I mean? Like not knowing what games I was going to play in. And I ended up playing 18 or 26, which is still good, but it was still that period of like not playing was really hard. Because like I don't like watching basketball. I told you guys I really don't. Like watching is like very hard for me. So this was like very different. But you know my goal and my mindset was gonna keep me.
Right, because you talk about not playing, but like it's only when you're not suited. Because when you're suited, you are playing.
Yeah.
Right,
Facts,
you're averaging 22 minutes, 23 minutes a game.
Facts.
So when you are playing, you're playing a lot. But
when I wasn't, it was just like that was really hard because it was like 3 games. It could be 2-3 games in a row. So to like bounce back, you know, when you're about to play. So let's say we sit out for 2 games. The 3rd game, if I'm playing, like mentally, you want to just kill right away. But you also haven't played in 2 games. The practice reps are nothing like the game. Right. You understand? So like mentally, I would say that was just the battle this year, like staying ready mentally, but also just like going with the flow, like game time, like not trying to force and do too much because the energy is just so rapid. But
so at what point with a healthy team do you know if you're actually playing or not?
The morning of the game, 10 a.m.
It's crazy.
Shoot around at 10:30.
He's like, all right, these are the players who are suited.
Right at the shoot around. I'm signing. I didn't sign you today. Now you like, yeah.
And you're getting paid the same regardless.
Facts. Oh yeah, that's all good. It's, yeah.
Yeah, you're also trying to put together like a resume to be able to play other places.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Facts. And that all goes into your agent. You got to make sure you're having a good guy work for you. You know what I mean? Like playing or not, got to make sure the money's right. Make sure they taking care of your family. All that stuff.
And the amount of games you're playing also comes into the contract talks, or that doesn't really?
No. Once you're on contract, you're on contract. Matter. Like once you got your numbers, you got your numbers. You know what I mean? Like it's all good.
What would you say about the difference between, you know, as you spoke a little bit before in JUCO about how these are all guys who are, you know, it's just the opportunity didn't work out, but they are totally like able players to play in D1 and it's kind of like playing for yourself part of it versus now in your professional career, more of like the team aspect. So where have you noticed the most, I guess maybe here in Israel, like that kind of difference and what guys are willing to sacrifice for the team because they care about team success more than maybe individual success.
It's different everywhere and with everybody, man, because it's like you're going to come across guys who just look out for themselves, who don't understand that if the team wins, you'll be better off in the next year if you have team success. But a lot of guys got to find it out the hard way because they used to the D1 schools being the man, and you come to an overseas team where this is a team thing. You're not just going to come put up 20 shots and go about your business. Like, it doesn't work like that. So a lot of guys have to find that out by getting cut or let go. That's the harsh reality. You know what I mean? And then, you got these teams where everybody's on the same page and sees the end goal, and that just makes it easier to just stand out in your role. Like, you know yourself as a player. Like, if you're a combo guard, if you're a shooter, I'm here to shoot. If I'm here a combo guard, I'm a playmaker. Do everything. You know what I mean? Like, it just depends on how you take it, man.
And y'all in like the beginning, I would say Herzliyah's team at the start of the year is completely different. Yeah. As soon as you came, like, I mean, you, Jimmy, X,
rocking.
John,
Chris.
you guys had a bond. Also,
Yeah,
we could see it from fans watching on the sidelines. Y'all are warming up. It's just like bang turns. you guys,
we was rocking, man.
So
for
how
sure.
at like playoffs are about to start? And now the whole entire team's different. How do you guys try and build chemistry around that?
It's hard, man. Trying to build chemistry by games because, in practice, all the players who are starting aren't going to be on the same team. So it's really hard, man. Like, I know from the coaching perspective it's hard, but as players, it's like trying to build chemistry when you haven't played with this player ever all season long. But just now for the playoffs, you can't expect it to be the same. Like how we was playing then, we was rocking. Like you said, we were brothers. Like everybody was on the same page. And we knew what separated us from everybody was like the defense. But, when you lose players, now the scouting report changes and the play style has to change too, offense and defense. It's just
not to reminisce over it, but I mean, you got guys like Jimmy who's coming right out of college who knew his role. Sneed, had NBA minutes and he still knew his role. I mean, it was an exciting
Chris
team.
Being a monster in his role.
Yeah, Chris is a big boy.
I miss that guy.
So kind of about that, I guess everyone's coming from a different spot. I also like to ask this to guys who are on the podcast that have some real overseas experience like yourself. At what point do you kind of notice from the fact that you're no longer a beginner in this overseas world and you're playing for Herzliya and now there's a new guy who's who said just out of college and now you're a veteran. Now you're a guy that can help him out and tell him to do like, A, I'm like, what do you say to him? Like, what's your advice? And B, when did you realize that you're now a vet and that's your kind of have a little bit of your responsibility?
Yeah, I start with A. Like I've always had guys who looked out for me, who were older, who always, because I ask questions. You got to ask questions. Like, don't just be a guy who's, like, just trying to figure it out all on his own because these guys have been through it. So for me, it was, like, that's what I always made sure I did was just ask. Like, just ask and see, what do you think about this? What should I do in this situation, Because they're going to teach you based off their experience, which is the best teacher. You understand? And then, so, yeah, like, with the young players, like, you just got to stay down in this, understand it's a business. It's, it can be taken away. Just like that. And I feel like if you go about your day-to-day with that type of pressure, it'll bring out the best in you. But some people too, like they'll use that as like fear and now you're being all hesitant because you don't want to mess up. But like it's basketball, man. You're gonna mess up. Everybody gonna mess up. You can't control that. So yeah, man, like that's just what I would tell them.
Right.
Keep going.
We talk about like 90% of the game is mental.
100%. Because if your mental is not right, how can you perform?
Yeah, really? Exactly.
I just saw Monte Ellis actually talking about this. He was like 90% mental, 10% is on the floor. Yeah. Right. If you're
especially overseas.
Overseas is crazy.
Because like you can, like I said, you can be in these places and just be sitting in your room. You're gonna go crazy, man. You're gonna be I miss home, miss mom and dad. You know what I mean? Like just constantly thinking about home instead of going out and opening your eyes like, damn, I'm really out here in Israel. I'm really out here in Italy, living though, not just vacation. These are places we're living at. You know what I mean? It's different. It's different. You got to take advantage of it. That's what I say.
Yeah, you got to buy in.
Buy in. Why not?
Yeah, I hear that, man.
It's a good life.
I appreciate it. Really? Yeah, that's good stuff. And I think that is what guys need to hear when they're coming. And it's such a place to even begin your career playing here, even as you're wrapping up and guys find like a little bit of a home here. Like that that advice goes no matter what. And I think if we've learned anything from this show that we're doing, that's what it is. And it's that's kind of the difference between success and not being successful a lot of times and a short stint and a long stint is that's being able to adapt and to do that. So it's a good lesson.
Facts, brother.
Right. So as we wrap up here, I told you about this little segment we do. We got a 24-second shot clock. We get some rapid fire questions up.
You got the clock? I got the clock.
You got it right there.
I got the clock.
What's it like? Also, you know, you created a bond with a guy like Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
And then mid-season, it doesn't really happen that much overseas,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But Maccabi saw an opportunity here, and they pick up Jimmy's contract, right?
Yeah.
And they take him, and then we see at Herzliya games, you know, Jimmy's peeping, he's coming
you
up.
see him try to hide at the corner.
Yeah. We saw that, you know, he's got his Hertz hat on.
Yeah.
But what's it like, actually? Because at the end of the day, it's like a 15, 20 minute
He's right
car
up the street,
drive.
man.
Yeah.
I see him just as much as when he was playing here. So it's like he's right up the street. You know, it was an amazing opportunity, and I'm glad, very thankful. I'm glad he took it for sure.
We
for
talk
sure.
about it all the time. It's like a brotherhood out here. 'Cause
Yeah.
you guys are doing the same thing. At the
doing
end
the
of the day.
same thing. He practicing with a different team, but the beach is still right here, still in Tel Aviv. Can go right at what's up? What you on, Jim? He already know.
All right, that's good stuff. All right, I'll start the timer, and then you're up.
I'm up.
You ready,
Yeah.
John?
Wait, hold up. I can't ask about watching playoffs because he doesn't watch basketball.
Facts. But shout out to the Pacers though. Shout out to the crib. They've been
Oh,
going
they're
crazy.
up
What the
3-1.
hell? What the Tyler? Yeah.
Yeah, he's going crazy.
Yeah.
Indiana's probably
Tyrese.
rocking.
Rocking right now.
It's big stuff.
They going crazy right now.
It's
I ain't
fine.
gonna lie.
Boston's gonna come back. We're gonna beat Indiana.
Oh
We'll see.
man.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. Let's get right.
I go first if you're not ready.
I got it.
Y'all alternating the questions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do
bet,
one,
bet,
two,
bet,
one,
bet,
two.
bet,
24
bet.
seconds. Ready?
Bet.
And go.
First thing you do after a win:
Go have some pasta.
music before tip off.
NBA YoungBoy.
Favorite Hebrew word.
I'm Shali.
Favorite basketball player growing up.
Kobe.
Go to pregame meal.
Pasta.
Favorite basketball movie.
Loving basketball.
Top basketball sneaker. You already said that. Kobe. Oh, joke.
Really, Jordan Tids. Oh, he messed up. Jordan Tids. Let's do it.
John, this is our first one that I
That's your
thought.
best.
I actually had it on
I
point
ran out
this
of questions 'cause I
time.
was going to do
You
forgotten.
was locked. You was locked.
His is forgotten NBA player, and then I was trying to think.
I didn't say forgotten.
You didn't say that
I
yet.
didn't
You
say
didn't even say that one yet.
All right, forgotten NBA player.
Jermaine O'Neal.
Oh, that's a good one. Hey,
See-
sir.
Facts.
Yeah.
See, I can edit it, so no one will know that I fucked up. So, that's embarrassing, though. I'll be better.
Yo.
But dude, appreciate you coming on. Yeah, we want to give this lesson out to everybody who's listening that they can do it, and kind of what they can bring to the game and how they can model their careers to do what you did and be successful anywhere you go. But you got anything to say to the people now that we're finishing up?
Just appreciate you guys for having me, man. Tune in to their podcast, Baseline. 100%. If you're out here, you need to come on the campus.
Any ideas for the next couple of years?
Ooh, yes, sir. Hold on, I got one. Got one for you guys. Oh, I can't take this off.
Yeah, you can take it.
Gotta switch this hat, man, so y'all can know.
Right here from the baseline.
Right here from the baseline, this is Daeshon Francis. I'm gonna be here in Herzliya for next season. Already signed. Yes, sir.
Let's
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, man.
Congrats,
man.
Looking forward.
Yes, sir. I'll be right next door.
Let's go. Well done, man. Thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations, and we're looking forward to watching you.
Appreciate
Appreciate
you.
y'all, man. Love.
Yes, sir.
That was fire. Right up.
There you go. Good.
I got a little bit of chills.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn.
With
That's good.
with the hat.
That's
Hold
good
on.
stuff.
Yeah.